Dee 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 dee. Keto living is the life for me. Coffee, cooking, and recipes. Spending my days with my doggies. So be a sport. Set your alarm for Wednesdays for the Warden's Report.
Hi y'all, welcome to the Warden Report. If you're new here, my name is Shelly. I'm affectionately known as the Warden by my husband, HungryHeath. And so I just give weekly info and just talk about whatever's going on, and then just show you different things. So I'm actually out in my backyard. I know it's 100,000 degrees outside here in Houston, but I let the dogs out. They love to sun, crazy dogs. So I'm letting them sun, and I thought I'd join them out here, get some fresh air, a little bit of sun myself, and just kind of, you know, do the nature thing, I guess. So yeah, that's what's going on here today. And I just want to say thank you. Give me a thumbs up. I'm sure you're going to love this video, right? And if you're new here, hit that subscribe button right over there, I think. Anyways, hit the subscribe button. You'll want to hear all my goofy humor and all of my points of view. How about that? So yeah, today is going well. I started reading comments on the video as they're coming in. It's just so awesome. I really, really love it. And then I'm just out here again watching the dogs, so I'll show you what they're doing. Alright, I know my grass is dead, y'all. That's because it's, again, 5,000 degrees outside. And yeah, we don't really water our yard. I guess we should. But I don't even think I own a sprinkler anymore. I used to have one of those really cute ones that you put, it was like a little tractor, and you'd put the hose out and then it would follow the tractor. I love that thing. But I think eventually it broke or something happened. So anyways, yeah, we should get out here and water this. Looks pretty bad, doesn't it? So this is the dogs. There is Samson on the left. And he came out here and he likes to sun too. He does partial sunning. As you see, he's got a little bit of shade there. And then there's Delilah getting all dirty. So she must be feeling well. So if y'all watched last week's, you heard about my scare with her, where I was just really concerned. But yesterday she really slept almost all day, just relaxed and slept. And then she started looking better last night. And then today, as you see, she seems almost back to her old self. Like she was, last night, I'll give her some privacy there. Last night this morning, he said when he fed her, she was back to her little hopping routine where she likes to hop for her meal. And then today, yes, I know, it's awful, y'all. And then today, she seems to be doing really well. So, I mean, she's still been sleeping. I mean, they sleep anyways a lot. But as you can see, she seems to be, you know, really holding it together and getting around better. She doesn't seem to be hobbling. And so she must be feeling well, especially to like roll on her back because, I think, so we'll get out of that way. But yeah, so I think she's doing a lot better. So thank y'all so much. And I'll let you go for now. Gotta get back to work. My lunch is basically over. Happy Thursday, or Friday Eve, as I like to call it. So, how is everyone doing this week? I loved all the comments that I read last week's Warden Report. Thank y'all so much. I really love it. And it's never too late to go comment. You go back and comment if you haven't. So, several people liked the Turkish chilbri. And Sana, you could correct me. I'm sure I'm mispronouncing it. But that dish in one video, so I'll definitely be doing that again, or making a standalone video. I am thinking of making some for my dinner tonight because it was just so freaking good, right? And here's a great way to get fermented food, yogurt, into your diet. And to change it up, because I think sometimes people think yogurt needs to be sweet. And I'm definitely more of a savory yogurt fan. So that's why a lot of times I'll see people who will get, like, I think it's ratio or different ones, and they sweeten it up, and they're like, oh yeah, I have it sweet, and sorry, have to lick off the cinnamon. And you never see me eat those because I'm just not into the sweet yogurts. Like, usually on yogurts, I like to sprinkle smoked salt is really good. Or I just eat it plain, you know, unsweetened plain yogurt. Every once in a while, I would do, like, I would put one of the electrolytes in with it as like a dessert. But lately, I just haven't been wanting those sweet things. Maybe it's this whole gut health thing. I was listening, thank you, shout out to Rickwin. She recommended this video with Dave Asprey, and he was going on about all of his fasting techniques and other health hacks and stuff. And yeah, he was saying he hasn't had sugar in forever, but he did some kind of test. You know, when you're a billionaire, you can do all these random tests. But anyhow, that showed that his metabolism, or his body, was more apt to process sugar than, he said, the average person would. And he said, but then he never eats sugar. He's like, but if he did, that it would actually be okay. And it got me to thinking, I was like, yeah, that kind of makes sense. Like, the longer you're away from sugars and, you know, those seed oils and everything else, your body is probably becomes better at adapting to those, but then you feel so good, like you don't want those, right? It's kind of like, you know, when you have a very healthy body, and that's what he was talking about. Well, I'm just so healthy. Sorry, in a way, he's a little arrogant. But anyways, he's like, you know, when you're just so healthy, your body can do better on handling any toxins, right? Because it's like, oh, okay, I get the toxins. But anyhow, I just thought it was good, and kind of a, you know, thing when it comes, you know, to health. That, let me know if you have found this, like, the longer you are keto, the less you want those sugar things. Like, even Dr. Westman has said before that he can have somebody put a donut in front of him and he has no desire for it. And I was like, yeah, it's kind of like at that. And I've noticed more with my gut health, like, I don't even have those cravings. Just very interesting, right? So what are your thoughts on that as well? Sorry about that. Just seemed like I was a little lopsided. And then the other thing I was watching, because I'm in this little fermenting phase, and I thought this was interesting. So for those of you that do really count carbs and you're strict about carbs, and I've heard this kind of before, that whenever you're looking like at kefir, because I've heard people say, oh, I can't do kefir, look at the carb count. And it's because, so I listened to this podcast and they were saying, well, it's because these commercial brands, when they make yogurt or they make kefir or fermented foods, they have to go with whatever the carb count was on the source. So like kefir, whatever the carb count was on the milk they used, that's what they have to report according to the USDA. But actual fermented foods, the carbs are the food for the bacteria. And so you really don't have that high carb count. And I've heard that before about yogurt, like, don't freak out and be like, oh, I need the yogurt that only has 1 gram of carb. It's like, no, if it's a true yogurt, now we know there's some yogurts out there that are just flash fermented, they're not long ferments. You could tell the difference. It's basically, fermented foods have more of a tart, sour, tangy flavor to them, and that's because the sugars have been eaten up. So, like, I could tell a difference in the different brands of kefir I have eaten, because some of the kefirs do tend to be a little sweeter, and I'm like, oh, they just didn't ferment it as long. And then some of the others, like Kelowna and even the Lifeway, are tangier, and that's because they let the ferment go. And then the person, she does like a fermenting podcast, she was like, so if you're making your own fermented kefir, just let it go until you don't taste any of the sweetness. And she said a lot of times, like, you could do that with other things, like with kombucha. Like, I mean, that's been one of the things that stopped me from having kombucha, because I always see honey or sugar on the label, and they're like, no, that's what had to feed the bacteria, and then the bacteria, they eat that. And so they were like, so you don't really have to worry about those sugars, because more likely there's not. Now, if you taste a kombucha and it's obviously sweet, then yeah, they probably added some honey or sugar after the fermentation. But generally, when you drink a kombucha or a probiotic drink, it should have that tangy, acidic tartness to it. But if it is sweet and overly sweet, then yeah, they've added some more stuff. And that's why, you know, making your own, like we've heard before, is always the best way, because then you know. And that's what they said, is when you're fermenting your own, just keep letting it go. And then it got me to thinking too, I don't know if anybody ever had that Gardener fruit or Gardener vegetables. Basically, I thought it was pickled, but it's usually cauliflower, carrots, onions, I think bell peppers, and different things in it, right? And you would get it, and I used to love that. Well, actually, I was watching Mary's Nest, which, if you haven't already, she is amazing, y'all. She has such a great channel. She's not keto or anything, but she's just so sweet. She is like from the hill country of Texas, which like over in Austin area. And she's just a delight. Like, I just love hearing her. I feel like I'm with like my grandmother, just somebody who's just so sweet and wholesome. And she explains things very well. And yeah, she's awesome. So go give her a follow. She's almost at 1 million subscribers. So let's, you know, get her up there, right? So she's a doll. But she made that fermented, the Gardener vegetables fermented. I was like, ooh, I'm going to have to do that. But again, I always shied away because of carrots. And this is something I could do, the carrots, because I know that the bacteria will be feeding off of the carbs from the carrots. And again, fermented foods are just a condiment, not a side. So you're not going to be eating like a cup full of that, right? You're going to have like 1 or 2 tablespoons. It's a condiment. So yeah, it's got like the wheels are turning, y'all. The wheels are turning. So, and I've got a lot of stuff in the works. Like, I think I'm up to 10 items. So 10 different videos coming up on this. So hopefully bear with me. Some of them were first day, and yeah, they're not going to be perfect, but I'm definitely getting better as I go through. And so yeah, I'm just excited with that. And everything that's going on. I have to say, just in my personal journey, like, I started making a lot of changes back on April 1st. I know, like Fool's Day. I didn't even plan it that way. That's just what happened. And I could say now, in the 4 months, so April, May, June, and July, 4 months, since I basically started doing my fasting regimen and following more Mindy Pell's cycling of the fasting, and then adding in really focusing on my gut health, like my journey, like everything is going really well. Like, I thought this was a huge NSV before the cruise, which was June 2nd when we left, or June 4th. Anyways, the beginning of June, I had a pair of shorts that I had bought actually a couple years ago, and at one point they did fit. They were still tight, but they fit, but they weren't as flattering. Let's just put it that way. But they fit, but then they didn't fit, because I'm telling y'all, for me, if I do high protein, if I'm getting over 100 grams of protein, I put on weight.
And I've talked about this before. I know I'm like going into all these things. But anyways, I feel like I've been somebody who's been overweight my whole life. Like literally my whole life. I didn't like, wasn't just kind of chubby as a kid and then kind of thinned out as a teen or young adult and then gained again. No, like I was heavy from 5 years old on. I gained weight and I was heavier than, like I was obese. I was not just pudgy. I was obese. And, you know, like in high school, like how some people are like, I just want to be the weight I was in high school. No, I want to be lower than the weight I was in high school. That's how obese I was. I was very overweight. And I think now I'm actually lower than what I weighed in high school. So that tells you something. I think for those of us that is our history, and what has several people have told me that had the same history, that they have noticed the same thing, that if they're doing really high fat, they get better results, and they notice that they can't do this one-to-one protein and stuff because they just start gaining weight back. And that was what happened with me. I gained back almost all the weight I had lost by doing carnivore and focusing on this high protein amount. It just, my body does not work protein that way. But doing what I've been doing the last 4 months, not only have I lost all of that, like I'm lower than when I started with my coach, which I was amazed with because it's been a journey, y'all. So back to my shorts. So last year, they did fit, but they were very, very tight and probably not very flattering, right? But I got them in. I sucked it and got it in. When I tried them on before the cruise, because I was going to bring them on the cruise, I couldn't zip them up. Like, could not zip at all. Like it was a distance. And I was like really sad because I was like, man, in a year's time, like, this is what's happened. I was very upset about it. But I was like, well, I'm not going to let it deter me. I know I'm doing what I'm doing. Things are working. I'm feeling better. So I know I'm on the right path. This weekend, I was like, I saw those shorts. I was like, let me just see. Because I think they're cute shorts. They're shorty shorts. And I was like, let me just see something. Because I'm feeling, like, I feel like, and I notice sometimes, I'm like, yeah, like I'm having more of this hourglass shape coming in. I was like, let me just try it. So I put these on, zipped and buttoned. I didn't have to do the little wiggle waggle, you know, where you have to jump or sometimes stretch or roll on your back to get something to zip up, which I think I had to do last year to get them to zip. No, they zipped up, y'all. So in a month's time, well, I guess a little over a month, it went from like, I was like, they're not even close to zipping or buttoning at all, to now it happened. So gut health is definitely good for my body, and I am doing really well. So I'm very happy about that. Again, it's a journey. These are things you kind of have to find out as you go through, you know, your keto journey with stuff. You just never know what's going to work and what's going to be the best response. That's why, sorry, y'all, there's somebody at work here. Come on. Oh, there we go. That's why I, again, am not dogmatic. I'm never going to come on here or on our lives or anything and say, well, this is how you do it, because you have to find out. Because, again, I think it's very different for those of us that have actually been overweight all of our lives, seem to have a different protocol or have a different response versus someone, and no offense to anybody, but this is what I've noticed, some people who, you know, maybe they were a little, like, to them, they were overweight. You know how, like, teenage girls, oh my gosh, I'm 5 pounds. Oh my, I'm so overweight. But really, they're not. Because, like, my mother said that. She was like, if only I could be the weight I was in high school when I thought I was fat then, because she was like 103 in high school. And so, yeah, I have noticed, though, that individuals that were basically within normal weight, maybe 5-10 pounds over in high school,
and then even as a young adult, and basically didn't gain their weight until later, usually after they have children. Then they put on a few pounds, or maybe 80 pounds. They seem to work better with the high protein approach. That's what I've seen. That's what I've noticed. Let me know below, because I want to hear from more of you. I just know that some people who have reached out to me that had a similar story to mine, that's what they've experienced too. And it's kind of like, it's kind of disheartening, because I do see some people out in the community that again fell into the second category, where really they were normal weight or not more than 5-10 pounds overweight most of their lives, until maybe they had children or they reached their 30s and gained some weight, and they're telling people, no, you gotta eat this much protein. And I know for some of us, like for me, when I listened to that, that really halted and put me back in my journey to overall health, because I was like, oh, I have to do what they say. They're saying I gotta eat this much protein, so I better do it, and not realizing that's their approach for their body. And sometimes I think when you listen to different channels that are giving health advice, you have to also look at where they're coming from. Like, where did you get this? Why are you saying this is the way to do it? Because most of the time, that's what I'm finding. People who give that advice are people who, I would say, were not overweight most of their life or all of their life. You know, they just weren't. And sometimes it's like, I'm not going to mention his name, but he was saying, oh yeah, one time I weighed 300 pounds. I'm like, where's the photo? Where's the photo? Because the only photos he shares is, oh, this is the photo after I'd worked really hard to drop 90 pounds. Okay, where's the photo? You can't say, oh, there was no photos. There's always photos somewhere. And so sometimes when people come out and they're like, oh yeah, I lost 100 pounds. Where's the photo that shows that? Because sometimes when they say, oh, look at my before picture, but you're like, is that the before keto? Because I've noticed on some that say that wasn't before actual keto. That was from 10, 15 years ago, and then they lost it however way, and then eventually decided to do keto, but they're claiming the weight loss from 10 years ago. I'm just saying, Facebook has a history, and you can look at Facebook photos of people and kind of confirm things. But anyhow, that's what I've noticed, and I just was like, okay, this is what's working for me. I'm just really happy that everything is, finally, I feel like I have solved the mystery of my health, right, and what's going to get me there. Of course, you're always reevaluating things, and that's, you know, also why we don't do challenges, because this isn't a short-term thing. I'm trying to get overall health for life, and I want to reach that health goal and can maintain that health goal for the rest of my life, so that when I'm 97, like Mary's Nest was talking about her mother who's 97, I'm still able to do things. And yeah, I think there is some support to really watching the gut health and making sure your gut is a healthy gut. So let me know. And then if you're asking about Delilah, so it's been a couple days. Let me see where she at. There she is. Well, let me see. All right, there she is. Sam's right here. But she is doing much better. She had a whole day where she was really, really resting. Like, she slept nearly 24 hours, it seemed like she was sleeping the whole time. And then yesterday morning, she just started really feeling back to her old self. Like, she's a hopper. I don't know if anybody else has labs that hop. She likes to hop. So when she's excited, she just starts hopping. And so, yeah, she knows I'm talking about her. So then when we fed her yesterday breakfast and then dinner, she was hopping for her food. And today, like when I went on break and let them back in, she came running in. And I thought that is such a good thing, because yeah, she definitely is feeling better and back to herself. And I'm just so happy, so relieved, so relieved. So thank y'all. I'll show you when I have my kefir and everything. But I have my coffee right now. It is 11:30. So that's another thing that I have done the past few weeks, and that might be really what's propelling me. So, like, it's just like huge improvement in the last few weeks. So that could very well be the coffee. Waiting at least the 90 minutes after I wake up to have my cup of coffee, definitely helping. And then plus I've been doing more of the bulletproof, his MCT oil. Again, I only got it because it's on sale. I'm not saying that's the brand you have to use, but I got his MCT because it was on sale. And I've been using that in my coffee, which of course is one of the things he suggests. Well, I mean, duh. But, yeah, so that's when those things, I think that's all coming together. All right, here I'm breaking my fast with this kefir, and I added in the turmeric, so it's golden kefir. It's really good. And then I've got my avocado here. You can see the turmeric. And then also I seasoned it. It's this really good seasoning by Flatiron Pepper Company. It's got garlic, and the onion, and jalapeno in it. And then I also drizzled some olive oil. So I'm breaking my fast with that. And then in about 30 minutes, I'll make my lunch. So my lunch today, I've got 3 Purnell sausages, a couple big tablespoons of the butter mayo. This one kind of hardened up. And then I've got some of my fermented bell peppers, sauerkraut, the kimchi, and then ginger. And that's it for lunch. Thursday dinner. So we've got a T-bone here. Got a slice of bacon I fried up. And then on the side, I've got my ginger, kimchi, sauerkraut, my fermented bell peppers, and this is Gruyere cheese. So I was reading more about the L. reuteri bacteria, and it said it's actually already in cheddar, Gruyere, and Parmigiana oregano. So those naturally have L. reuteri in it. And this he got from Sam's, and it says it's actually from raw milk. So I bet it's a better source of the L. reuteri. And then I've got that Turkish dish again, which is the Turkish chilburi. But anyways, look, I really did more of a chili oil today. I put the flat iron chili flakes, and then I've got underneath the chili oil is the yogurt. And then let's see if I got my egg right. Oh, look at that, y'all. Did you see? Look at the yolk. That's going to be awesome. Well, yeah, I know I've got 2 spoons because obviously I need 500 spoons to eat my dinner. But yeah, that's dinner tonight, and this is going to be great. Making my coffee. It's heating up because Heath makes it first thing in the morning, and then I don't drink it till it's already after 11. So added my MCT oil, and then I'll add my coffee. It goes from this dark color you see here, because it is a dark roast I'm using. It's that Ketochow Island, and you can see where the MCT is. And then I just turn it on and slowly increase it. And look how creamy it ends up. Then I turn it back down so it could just all settle, and then pour it into my cup. And here it is poured in, and see, it's got a nice little creamy looking head to it. And then I just add my legules. I'll add 5 drops of that and my cinnamon, and then my cup is done. That's it. Basically just 2 ingredients, the MCT oil and coffee. That's all you need for a great cup of coffee. This is what I'm having. So I've got a 19-hour fast, and I am breaking it with some kefir. So actually, last week he got the low-fat Lifeway, and then we saw at the other Kroger he went to, they had the whole milk kefir unsweetened. So he got me that. That's what I'm having here. And then I've got my avocado. And yeah, so I'm excited. So my lunch today, I decided to fry up some bacon. This is thick cut bacon. And then I've got that butter mayo. I got my kimchi, my sauerkraut. This is a fermented zucchini salsa and some ginger. And that's what I'm having for lunch. Make sure you tune in to the Friday Night Feast, see what we made for dinner. Happy Saturday, y'all. So I got to the farmer's market right when it opened at 8. And I wanted to show you all what I got. I'm so excited. So this is the turmeric I use. I know it says latte mix, and I was even talking to the owner. You can see there what's in it. So it's got the turmeric and the black pepper and some ginger. And I told her I use it as a seasoning. She was like, "Oh, really?" And I said, "Yeah, I put it on my avocado. And I also mix it in my kefir." And she goes, "Oh, it is so good in kefir." And she's like, "And I mix it in my yogurt." So, again, just because it says that, that's why I checked the ingredients before I used it. And I was like, yeah, that'll be perfect for seasoning. So, again, you don't always have to use things as they're always initially intended by the maker, because there's always more than one way to use it. And then I saw she had this as well, a tea blend, and look at that, turmeric and ginger. Doesn't that sound amazing, y'all? I was like, so that's her company, Roots in Harmony. And look at the ingredients. So it's a black tea, and it's got turmeric, ginger, cardamom, fennel, star anise, and peppercorns, and rose petals. Just super excited about this. I was like, oh, this will be good. And then she tells you how you can make it into a latte. But I was thinking this would be good to just, like, have iced. So, excited about that. And then, so the tea, she said one bag makes about 20 to 26 servings. And that was $12. And I think this is also $12. But it lasts forever. And then I went to one booth, it got some more habaneros. Now this market, they didn't have a booth that had 50 different habaneros like the other one. But I did get habaneros, and I got some Thai chili peppers. And so the Thai chili, and then I got some Thai basil. Look at this huge bunch, $2 for this huge bunch. And then I got some cherry tomatoes. So I'm going to ferment the cherry tomatoes with the Thai basil and the Thai chili, and probably some garlic as well. And that's just, I think that's going to be amazing once they're fermented. And then I got, look at these pork chops, y'all. Look how thick. Like, they're like as big as my thumb thick. They're thick, y'all. Look at those pork chops. So this is a local farmer, and there he is. So if you're in the Houston area, he's up in Conroe. So very excited to try this. And so yeah, it was like $14 a pound, but I think they would be perfect. And then another one we like, it's called Ketochow Exotics. If you're in Austin, I think they're in Austin as well. But they had goat stew meat. So I got this, and he was telling me he makes a Middle East roti. Roti. R-O-T-I, roti. It's basically a curry dish. Or he said he doesn't make it. He has a lot of customers that get the goat stew meat so they can make roti with it. And so I'm excited to try that with this. And then look at these Brussels sprouts. Aren't they freaking huge? Again, here's my thumb. You can see how big those Brussels are. So I'm excited about that. And then I found this gentleman here, and he is local to Houston, and he has a whole line of fermented. So I got garlic sauerkraut, the fermented cucumbers, y'all. Just, you kind of see, look at that. Those cucumbers, I'm excited. And then I tried his kimchi. He does make it with a fish sauce, so just kind of beware. And then he also makes a ginger beer, which is just fermented ginger with some sugar because you got to feed the bacteria, and lemon juice. So I tried, she had a sample of that. So I tried that, and it is very acidic, kind of similar to kombucha. If you've ever had kombucha where it's that kind of fizzy acidity to it. But she was like, oh, you could drink the whole thing. I'm like, I could not imagine drinking this whole thing. But I got it for free. And I was like, well, it's free. I mean, I don't know how many ounces it is. But anyways, so, yeah. I guess they did at least 16 ounces. But I wouldn't drink the whole thing. And then I went to, they had a local goat farm, and she was selling goat milk yogurt. I was like, oh my gosh. And I told her about the Turkish jilbri that I'm making, and she was like, oh, that sounds amazing. She goes, the goat milk isn't as thick as traditional Greek yogurt. She goes, but you could just, you know, put it in a bag and let the whey seep out more. And I'm like, it'll be fine. So I'm excited to try that. That whole quart there, it was $12, but I'm excited. She said full fat, plain unsweetened goat yogurt. And then I also got from her, I had tried one of the goat cheese. So this is a spicy Mediterranean goat cheese. And let's see here. So goat milk, salt, and the spices: basil, garlic, tomato, oh, she put fructose in it. She said it was sugar-free. Tomato flavors, beet juice powder, and crushed red pepper. Well, I'm so sad because when she listed the ingredients, she didn't list the fructose. I wonder if it's like natural from like the tomato and stuff. Oh, we'll have to see what we're going to do then. That's kind of sad. Because like I asked, and she said, yeah, no sugars. Okay. But that's that. So I guess next time I'll know better. But yeah, because on her, she had a sign outside that said what ingredients were, and she didn't list it on the sign. So I didn't think to check the actual package. That's sad, y'all. Guess I shouldn't have went by her sign that showed all the ingredients. Anyhow, hopefully it's not much. But yeah, that's everything I got here. All right, we tasted the goat cheese. It doesn't taste sweet like at all, and I usually could taste sweetness. So maybe that's just very minimal. Because I taste the red pepper more than I taste that. So I don't know, or maybe she's thinking from the tomato or something, because they are real particular on different things. But I also forgot, I got more duck eggs from Three Sisters Farm. Aren't they beautiful? I'm so excited. Hey, y'all. It is Saturday. I've got back from the farmer's market. I got a lot of great stuff. This is that Turkish chilbri. I made it with goat yogurt I got today. And it's just a lot thinner yogurt than the others I've been eating. So, but I think this still turned out amazing, y'all. It was so good. And then I've got my coffee here, and my coffee I did with some cacao powder. So it's got a little chocolate hint to it, but it's still unsweetened. And then tell everybody, what do you think? This is your first time having the chilbri, or jilbri.
I called it jailbreak. I think it's delicious. I've never had it before, but I want to have it again.
Awesome. And y'all, that video, trying to say, we might have released it on Monday, or maybe it'll be coming up. You'll know by now. Tonight, y'all, it is August the 5th, and it's an old folklore, at least in England, that on August 5th, you should have oysters if you want to bring money all year long. So we went to this new local oyster house, and I've got fresh oysters here from the Gulf, and then I've got some roasted loaded oysters. So it's a garlic butter with bacon and a habanero kick. And I'm on a date with this guy. Oh, I must have been hungry because I just started digging in, and I was like, oh shoot, I haven't recorded. So I've got here redfish pontchartrain. So it's topped with a lobster pontchartrain sauce. And then I've got broccolini and some Brussels sprouts I subbed for the mashed potatoes. So I am loving this. There's chunks of lobster in the sauce. Happy Tuesday, y'all. And here's a funny story for you. So we use Teams at work, and this morning, you know, like we usually do a meme or whatever to say good morning. And this morning, for some reason, and I even double checked, I was like, yeah, that's it. Yeah, today is Wednesday. Yeah, that's it. And I was like, yeah, that makes perfect sense. It's Wednesday. Of course it is. And so I put this meme that was like, it's Wednesday. And one of my coworkers, she's like, Shelly, I hate to break it to you, but it's actually only Tuesday. I was like, yeah, that makes more sense. Because, like, there's this, a while back, I used to do these Amazon, they were like micro things. I forget what it was. But it was like you do these little tasks and you would earn so much money. And somehow on that, we earned this one where this guy sends us codes and we have to like submit the code by a certain time. And then you earn, I mean, pretty good money. Like, well, to me, good money. You know, it's like anywhere from $25 to, and this time he's doing $50, which I'm just like, whoa, that's like, I'm excited about that. $50, right? And so I was kind of down because like it was needed by Tuesday evening is when it should like occur, like there's a time limit. And I was like, man, I guess we missed out on that because I didn't get anything come Tuesday evening. And then when they were like, it's only Tuesday, I was like, oh, good. So maybe there's still a chance to earn that money, right? So yes, it is just Tuesday. So I mean, that's how busy work has been. That's why I haven't been on here as much, because it is like yesterday, Monday was just crazy. And so, and I know it's just going to keep getting busier and busier. And it's just like, ugh. But anyhow, we're going to make it through, right? We're going to do it. So, yeah, what I was going to tell you about today is I am having my coffee. So it's actually noon. So that's pretty good. So, but one thing I got recently, I kind of mentioned this on the live last week, is I got, it's called Wild. The company is actually called Wild Foods. And they are out of Austin, Texas. So those of you in Austin, you know, you could probably go up and maybe, I don't know if they have a storefront. So I know that they were at KetoCon last year in 22. And so I got to try some of their products and I bought their cacao butter. And it was really good. It's just, you know, a little expensive. Can't do that all the time. But anyways, so recently I've been seeing their ad for a mushroom chocolate, or hot chocolate rather. And I was like, oh, that sounds interesting. A mushroom hot chocolate. Like I'm all for that. And I think it even has turmeric in it. So I ordered it. And then, you know, they're like, oh, well, if you're interested in that, you'll be really interested in this. And it was a wild cocoa powder. And oh shoot, sorry, still trying to work here. And so I was like, okay. And of course, you know, you buy more than one bag, you get an even bigger discount. So I bought 2 bags of it. Well, when it got delivered, all I got was the 2 bags. I didn't get what I originally wanted, which was the hot chocolate, right? But they were fine. Like I emailed them like right away Friday and said, hey, just letting you know. And I sent them a picture, it wasn't in there. And so they responded like Saturday, which I was thinking, well, I'm not going to hear anything until like Monday probably. But no, they replied Saturday and said, oh, so sorry, we will get that out to you. And so I just checked and it says it should be delivered tomorrow. So I'm excited. So when I get that, I'll definitely try it and let y'all know what I think of it. But in the meantime, what I've been trying is the cocoa powder. So it says the serving size is 2 tablespoons. I did that the first time, I think on Saturday, and that was just way too much for a cup of coffee. Oops, sorry, y'all. So instead, today, I just did 1 tablespoon. And I have to say, it really, really makes the coffee chocolate. Like, it's even thick like a hot chocolate, right? There's no sweeteners in it. So if you're somebody who's like, oh, I can't deal with certain sweeteners, they have very clean products. Like, they pride themselves on being very clean. Make sure there's no soy and different, toxins in their stuff. I'll link them below, Wild Foods Company. But the cocoa it's just cocoa powder. And the reason I decided to get it is if you're on this whole like fermentation and gut health journey with me, I was reading that cocoa powder or chocolate in general is very healthy for your gut because it is a prebiotic. So y'all know most of the fermented foods are probiotics, right? The prebiotics is kind of what feeds the probiotics. So it's important to do that. So like on some things, trying to think which one it is. It was one of the fermented foods. They said basically, the L. reuteri yogurt, if anybody's looked into making that. So basically what that is you have to feed it an actual prebiotic. So a lot of the fibers, it's like a like inulin. It's I'm trying to think the term was, but I think it's like a soluble fiber. But anyways, or non-soluble. Anyways, it's like inulin, chicory root, things like that. Certain bacteria need that in order to eat, right? And so chocolate, especially cocoa powder and cacao powder, are very good, and you want to get a high quality clean one, but they're great as a prebiotic for your gut health. So I'm like, okay, this is a win-win. Now, again, if you're somebody who's like, oh, I got to track all my carbs. So for 1 serving of it, if you do the 2 tablespoons, it's like 5 total carbs. Today, I feel like 1 tablespoon was plenty for 1 cup of coffee, which is like a 16-ounce cup of coffee. But, I mean, you do you as far as what you think you need, as far as how particular it'd be. But anyways, so I'm getting to the point where I'm not particular when it comes to the carb count, because I know like a lot of these things such as kefir and yogurt and prebiotics and stuff, the carb counts are kind of like the USDA requires it, but that's really not the carb count. So, and I feel like if you're eating whole foods, you don't need to be so particular about the carb count. To me, carb count is like if you're eating lots of treats and packaged foods, then yeah, you probably want to keep track of that. Or if you're eating like some of those yogurts that are sweetened and everything, then yeah, you probably do. But I think if you're eating like a very clean, or especially if you make your own yogurt and everything, then I think you're fine. I wouldn't stress about whatever the carbs are in that. So that's kind of how I feel about this chocolate. It's like a prebiotic, so I feel like, okay, so it's going to help feed my bacteria or my probiotics that I'm going to be having, like my kefir. So anyways, that's just my thought. Let me know y'all's. And if you've ever tried Wild Foods Company, their cocoa powder, or their Cocoa Tropic, that's the hot chocolate one, let me know what you think. And I'll certainly share that. It'll probably be on next week's Warden report, because even though it says it's going to be delivered tomorrow, it'll probably be the end of the day, right? And I'll already have this posted. But I'll keep you up to date and let you know what else is going on today. Having my kefir, you can see I've already drank some of it, but I added my turmeric in it, and I got more of that turmeric, which I'm glad, because I think I only have like one more serving left in the container. So yeah, this is perfect. Gotta have your kefir. It's just so good for you. Like seriously, if you're considering or wanting to improve your gut health, I highly recommend kefir. It's usually found in most grocery stores. Just make sure you're getting the unsweetened variety. And yeah, this is awesome. I love it. Tuesday lunch, I've got, this is Swaggerty sausage, and I've got my kimchi, a fermented cucumber, so it's not a pickle because we didn't pickle it, it's fermented. And then I've got some sauerkraut, ginger, and then of course I've got my avocado, and I've got some of that sriracha mayo. If y'all didn't see, go watch that video that was released on Monday. Tuesday dinner, so I've got a pretty looking thick pork chop that I got from the farmer's market, and it's a local farmer, actually not too far from us. And then I stuffed it with some goat cheese. And then of course I've got my kimchi, and then y'all, so excited, Brussels sprouts. And it's got bacon in there, and then I topped it with some of that sriracha mayo. Well, that wraps up another week of the Warden Report. We're just chilling here on the couch, watching Keto Simple on his live. And yeah, that's another week, another wrap. I hope there was some good information for you this week. Cannot wait to read your comments. If you watched till here, make sure you put hashtag KC for Keto Chow, KC Pina Colada. So if you didn't hear on the live, we announced that we will be randomly pulling a name from either Heath's Endless Journey, the Sriracha Mayo, or this, the Warden Report. One of these three videos, you want to make sure you have commented on all three. And even better if you add the hashtag KC Pina Colada, which I did see some of you have already done that. And somebody is going to win a huge, the big bag of Keto Chow Pina Colada. So everyone, best of luck to you. Thank you so much. And if you are made it to this point, please make sure you hit the thumbs up. And if you're new here, hit subscribe. And then please stay tuned to see all of our wonderful channel members. Thank you all so much again for your support. Bye.